Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm going to start this video out with a plea to Mr. Gary Gensler. Mr. Gensler, no matter what you say publicly, no matter what you try to act like, there's one thing that you and I both know for 1,000% certain, and that is the SEC has not treated Ripple and XRP with the same set of standards and fairly in relation to the way they've treated Ethereum. Regardless of the reasons for that, you know it's not right. And all we ever wanted, all the people that listen to me that I know of wanted, was to have a level playing field. That's all we want. I don't want to talk about all the things that have gone on with Ethereum and all that. That's not what I want this show to be about. We've been forced into this situation. We're just people. We're just average people out here who've been forced into fighting this fight that we don't even want to fight. I want everybody to win. I want Ethereum to win. I want Bitcoin to win. I want XRP to win. If they're deserving of doing well from a technological standpoint, let the market decide. That is all we're trying to do here. But as long as the wrong thing's being done, people out here have no choice. But we're put in a position of pointing out all of the things that are not right here and that's not the truth. And so I wish I could stop this tomorrow. If I could just, all you got to do is really go the route of what Charlie Gasparino said. What Hester Pierce has always had the right idea, and that is give all these things a a safe harbor. Give XRP a safe harbor. Don't give certain projects the run around while closed door meetings are going on with people that have vested interests in Ethereum, and then they get a free pass that's where literally a framework is created around it just for the purpose of getting Ethereum through the door. You know that's what went on. I know that's what went on, and so this is a plea. Mr. Gensler, tear down this wall that the SEC has created between itself and crypto innovation in the United States. Give this country a fighting chance. Let all of these things, let them go, and let's create a safe harbor and let them fly and see who wins. That's how it's supposed to happen. If this is still the United States of America. So, Mr. Gensler, please tear down that wall. David Schwartz tweeted this out. Is whether a digital asset is fully functional at the time of sale relevant to at least one of the Howey factors? I checked, it is especially relevant. And the reason I checked that is because it's mentioned no less than 10 times the word functional in Bill Hinman's speech, where he's giving Ethereum the free pass. And I think that David Schwartz, a lot of times he tees things up here, and I think this is one of those times. He says the SEC does, in this letter to Judge Netburn, it says, Larson interrogatory number 5, ask the SEC to pinpoint the date by which the SEC contends the XRP ledger became fully functional. In response, the SEC noted that whether and when the XRP ledger became fully functional is irrelevant under Howey. Well, in the speech, Bill Hinman's speech entitled Digital Asset Transactions When Howey Met Gary, he mentions functionality 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look at this part right here. I think it's right, maybe it's up here. Has the promoter raised an amount of funds in excess of what may be needed to establish a functional network? And if so, has it indicated how those funds may be used to support the value of the tokens or to increase the value of the enterprise? Does the promoter continue to expend funds from proceeds or operations to enhance the functionality and or value of the system within which the tokens operate. So obviously functionality was pretty important to Bill Hinman. And of course, I know this was only his personal opinion. At least that's what he said under oath or in an affidavit. Now, I just wanted to make you aware. I went and watched it. Go watch Jeremy Hogan's video. He put out an entire video about all the goings on and about some of the motions that are going on recently and all that stuff. And so you need to go watch that. I'm not going to show it here, but go to legal. What's his channel? I should have pulled it up. It's called Legal. I think it's called Legal Briefs is his channel. But just type in Jeremy Hogan on YouTube. It'll come up. Okay. Now, this was a Bloomberg crypto. U.S. authorities are examining possible insider trading and market manipulation at crypto exchange Binance. Okay. It says this story, and I said, this story is peanuts. What about the trading by the people who knew Ethereum was going to get a free pass before the Hinman speech? That's the real crypto story. Now, I want to draw your attention back. Remember what this is. This is the Venture Capital Working Group, March 26, 2018. My understanding is that this was sent to Bill Hinman as well as a couple others. I think Amy Starr was one of them, and I think Valerie Japenik was on that list too. All right. But I wanted to show you something that I found. Many of you may remember. I remember this like it was yesterday because this lady is, what's her name? Her name is, let me go to this and I can tell you what her name is. Right here. Professor Tanya M. Evans. This was behind the scenes at the Bill Hinman speech, and I'll never forget it because it felt like she was taking a swipe at Ripple in her comments. Listen.
I've always suspected that, let me put it this way. I'd always hoped that this is the direction we would go in terms of Ether and its category. There was so much uncertainty, but there's so much writing on what was said this morning that I think it's the right result. An opposite result would send, certainly that network, but also the ripple effect, no pun intended, throughout.
Oh, I think maybe there was a pun intended or she slipped there. So I had gone and looked up who this lady was. And it turns out that she is one of the board members at the Maker Foundation. Okay. Well, and I said, remember the Maker Foundation's board member who was behind the scenes? Wonder if she or anyone else there knew about the speech ahead of time. And then I wanted to show this. This is from December 16th, 2017, around 6 months before Bill Hinman gave Ethereum a free pass. Maker sells $12 million of Maker to partners led by Andreessen Horowitz and Polychain Capital. Well, that's the same Andreessen Horowitz that led this venture capital working group and sent this safe harbor to William Hinman just a couple of months before his speech. I'm just showing you facts here, folks. Here's another fact. I sent this out about a week ago. This is the people just from piecing it together from some of the meetings that were being had at the SEC leading up to Bill Hinman's speech. Joseph Lubin on December, and this may be the same meeting, this consensus, but consensus, Joe Lubin, consensus, CFTC, consensus. That's Joseph Lubin's company. And then this was him acting like he doesn't know anything. This is him speaking like a few hours after the Bill Hinman speech at the same location at the Yahoo Summit.
What do you think's going to happen to Ripple with this new ruling?
I don't know the answer to that. I wasn't able to read through Bill's entire speech, and I wasn't here. I don't know if he spoke about XRPs at all.
He didn't specifically mention anything about it.
So that's interesting.
So yeah, I mean, the fact that he named two other things but didn't name that one is certainly something that should perk up ears.
Yeah, it should perk up ears. Now, then we've got this, the Brooklyn project, because here's what I've pieced together. You had three things more or less going on. What Nancy Wotas said is you had like 3 or 4 law firms. You had a couple of those venture capital firms like Andreessen Horowitz. Then over here you had Consensus running the Brooklyn project, and from Charles Gasparino's from his video that he had put out on May 10th of 2018, he was saying that it was that he was told by someone there. His source said that it was sanctioned by the SEC, and he said in that report that they were working with the SEC and the CFTC on this Brooklyn project, okay, to get a framework. Now, this is the Brooklyn project document, and just by coincidence, it's the date on it is June 18th of June 18th, which is the exact same month that William Hinman gave his Ethereum free pass speech. So I was looking; it's a Google document up here, and they did it so that it was a shared document. Like this guy right here, this Baroducci. That's one of Consensus's attorneys, and if you go down through this, you'll see several of their attorneys. But I think it was just a bunch of attorneys from around the world that came in and were all commenting on this document. Okay, and but what was interesting to me is a couple of things. One, there was several people that were anonymous in here, and I was just wondering if there's any way for anybody to find out who those might be. But then the other thing is there's several deleted users. I mean, a lot of them. And then the last thing was that there was someone in there that went by the name XRP Tech, which I'm assuming is their Google handle. We could probably find that person or at least ask them some questions about what they were doing in there. Might be an interesting exercise. Okay, then I saw this, I don't know how, but I ran into this little thing right here. Remember, I think December 22 was when the SEC dropped the lawsuit on Ripple, okay? Well, this Matt Corva he's one of the attorneys for Consensus. And these guys had just from the tweets I've shown you, from the videos of Joseph Lubin almost gloating that Ripple did not get covered by the Hinman speech. I've shown you all this stuff. All of them obviously, and then the other one, that Andrew Keys guy, who I think was the source for Gasparino's article, that guy, the only tweet I found one tweet from the last, 8 years where he mentioned XRP. And the only tweet was where he says XRP is a security period when the lawsuit dropped against Ripple. Okay, that's all he ever had to say about XRP. Then you got Matt Corva here, and he says this after the Ripple settlement. I think the day of, he says, coincides exactly with Biden nominating Gensler, who's spoken openly about his belief XRP is a security, and probably about the time private negotiations between Ripple and SEC over a settlement ended. So I was wondering when I saw that, well, how does he know? Now maybe this was something public. How does he know that they were having private negotiations with the SEC about a settlement? That's what I was wondering here. That's a good question. No, maybe I'm just unaware and that was publicly available. But I don't remember myself knowing it. Well, but also, as long as I'm here, I wanted to point something out to this guy since he's an attorney, and he says that Gensler has spoken openly about his belief that XRP is a security. I thought it'd be fun to at least make him aware of this.
He was a gentleman in Florida that put up citrus groves and started to sell them. And the Supreme Court had to decide what is an investment contract, because an investment contract is a security. This 4-part test, in my mind, suggests that most, maybe not all, but most initial coin offerings are securities, because they're investment contracts where there is an exchange of money, there's a common enterprise, you're relying on somebody else's expertise for profits. This is why I've earlier this year said I think that most of them are. I think Ether, when it was done in 2014, would pass this test. When I say pass, it means it's a security.
So there you go, Matt. Okay, moving along. So speaking of Matt, I went back and found this was a podcast where the two of the attorneys for Consensus were on the podcast. And then I also put a Mike Novogratz clip in here because Matt Corva at the end of this makes a comment about how CNBC was CNBC was showing how to buy Ripple on their TV channel back, I think it was around 2018. And the reason that caught my attention was because I also remember a clip where Mike Novogratz said almost the exact same thing. So I just wanted to put them together here for you.
Project Brooklyn get started?
So Pat and I are both lawyers for Consensus. Consensus is obviously a big company in blockchain, focusing mainly on Ethereum.
The guy talking is Patrick Baraducci, who's an attorney for Consensus.
I joined Consensus in legal about 2 years ago. Pat also works in legal, joined at some point.
Actually, I'm sorry, I had that wrong. That's Matt Corva talking, but Pat comes in a second.
Although it's been a whirlwind of fun times. So
I think we were very concerned.
Now Patrick's talking.
That we did not want the growing concerns to blunt the potential of the technology. And so we wanted to take action and step up and try to start solving these problems, addressing them head on. And so that's really how we came about wanting to form the Brooklyn Project. My background is I have a background in law and technology. Undergraduate, I was a computer science major, math minor. Went to law school. I practiced law for about 7 years at Sullivan and Cromwell in New York.
That's weird. That's where Jay Clayton. That was the law firm he was with, and I think he's with now.
Financial services related law.
So one, can you tolerate financial risk? And two, do you actually understand the technology in a way? Or, you're just sort of just chasing a CNBC was talking about Ripple. So, I want to buy Ripple.
And the regulators got worried. I mean, it was interesting. CNBC, not to pick on CNBC, but I think I can see them here. They literally had a show where they were one by one walking people through how to buy the Ripple, the XRP coin. Literally when it was trading at $3.20, having moved from 20 cents 8 weeks earlier. From the day of that show, the thing plummeted. We were short.
I wonder how he shorted XRP. I wonder where they do that. I bet that's an interesting thing to look at.
Plummeted all the way back to 50 cents.
I think in the short term in particular, I mean, we hope to, hopefully in the short term, have a framework together that we think addresses a lot of the consumer protection needs, but it's a framework for selling tokens in a way that helps protect consumers and also deliver great technology.
Bitcoin they've already kind of said it's not a security, okay, but Ethereum they haven't ruled on yet. I bet dimes to donuts. They will say Ethereum probably was a security, but it's not anymore.
He said that last part there. He said that on 6/5/2018. What's that? 9 days before the Bill Hinman speech. Great prediction, and we'll also have a great prediction from Joseph Lubin here in a second. So check this out. So here's the venture capital working group members and law firms. I was trying to summarize this. Andreessen Horowitz, Union Square Ventures. These are the ones that had sent the memos over to. My understanding is these are the ones that sent the memos over to the SEC on March 26, 2018, a couple of months before the Hinman speech. So, and then those are the law firms. And then the one by the Venture Capital Working Group was called Token Sale Non-Exclusive Safe Harbor, submitted on 3/26/18. Ethereum is I went through the document, and to my knowledge, Ethereum is the only digital asset that is mentioned in the Safe Harbor document. Ethereum is a good example of this type of protocol token that has become so decentralized it should not be deemed a security. For clarity, Ethereum is the protocol token for the Ethereum network, so this safe harbor provision would apply to ETH, but not necessarily to all ERC20 tokens running on top of the Ethereum network, unless an ERC20 token is itself a protocol token. Also, for clarity, a protocol token may qualify as a token with full functionality, irrespective of whether it has achieved full decentralization. Pretty Ethereum focused thing. Then there's this from Jay Clayton's calendar, January 25th, 2018. He had a meeting. These are all some of the guys from Andreessen Horowitz. And that, of course, is the Venture Capital Working Group, Seek Select Crypt. That's from April 20th, 2018. Okay, I don't know. This meeting may have absolutely nothing to do with any of this, but it was one of the meetings where I saw that Jay Clayton had a meeting with Andreessen Horowitz. And since we know that they had sent that to the SEC, I didn't know if it was relevant or not. Charles Gasparino had tweeted this out, I believe, yesterday. Yeah. People close to Ripple say, while the SEC enforcement case over XRP has hurt its domestic biz, its business is thriving overseas. Further proof the SEC and crypto enforcement agenda is forcing innovation to occur outside the U.S. Story developing. And I said, and so then I showed him this. Now remember, you've got to remember when I show you this, what the SEC has said. All the way until this and through this lawsuit, Ethereum got a free pass. This was all came from the SEC because it had become decentralized. That was the whole argument. Then the other day, when Charles Gasparino jumped on the story, someone from over at the SEC said, no, it's not that. It's that the Ethereum infrastructure is built out, but XRP is not. And so that's why XRP is under scrutiny. Well, this video proves that both of those are not true. And I said, when you realize the decentralization infrastructure talk was all a lie, you will have to ask the next question. Why did they do this? Okay, listen to this. This is Nouriel Roubini calling Joseph Lubin out, and listen to what Joseph Lubin says, and I'll summarize it for you before you watch this. What he is basically saying is that this thing is not going to be fully decentralized, and the infrastructure is not going to be built out until we transition to Ethereum 2.0, and that's the fact, Jack. It's just the fact, and all of them know it, including Gary Gensler. They all know it, and they ought to be ashamed of themselves, and that's why I said Gary needs to tear down this wall, because this is a farce.
So whether you're looking at mining, whether you're looking at exchanges, whether you're looking at the developers, whether you're looking at the concentration of wealth, this is a totally centralized system. So talking about decentralization is just nonsense.
Okay, we're gonna give. Okay, we knew that this was a debate.
May I respond?
Yes, we had a clever idea, which was to do it as an Oxford-style debate, but we're not doing it.
Yes,
Go ahead, Joe.
Totally decentralized may be a bit of an exaggeration.
Oh, really?
I agree that the mining systems, the proof of work mining systems, are susceptible to centralization, especially in Bitcoin, but also.
That's what Ethereum is now. They're subject to centralization if they're mined. And that's what Ethereum is right now and has been since its inception.
So partially in the Ethereum space, it's turned into a hardware arms race. Proof of stake, if you understand it well, will remedy many of the concerns with respect to centralization, with respect to wasted computation, especially with respect to wasted energy or electricity. Proof of stake will enable people to replace all of that hardware infrastructure, all of the waste with.
Okay, so there you have it. I mean, the guy literally admits you're going to have to replace that infrastructure. I mean, what is going on here? Okay, we're not done yet. And I typed this out. I said, this is very clear. Ethereum is not decentralized and has not completed its infrastructure. And ironically, their team is working on issuing another security, Ethereum 2.0, so that they can become decentralized and complete their infrastructure. That's what's going on, folks. And everybody knows it. Both sides know it, not just Ripple. They know it too. Now, I told you I was going to show you that how Joseph Lubin is kind of like a fortune teller, just like the Novogratz clip I played for you a minute ago. Here he is looking into his crystal ball. This is from May 15th, 2018 at the Fluidity Summit at 2. And he is, that's 1 month before the Bill Hinman speech.
We're very confident in our ability to issue those tokens and have them not considered securities. And we're very confident that although there will be some negative news coming out in the ecosystem around some of the projects that have sold tokens, there's going to be some very positive news, and we'll get some real good clarity in 2018.
Man, these guys, they're good. Okay, and then Charles Gasparino today put out this article. I'm not going to go through the article for you, but it was really well written. He did a really good job. And he's got right here, he said, my latest New York Post column, still young, crypto industry could grow stronger. Now, look, I'll say this too. Right now, Charles, I've got kids in the background that are literally singing, and I don't know what it's about. So if you hear singing, it's because my son had somebody spend the night with him last night, and they are being loud. So that's just part of what you deal with here. We're talking about worldwide issues here, and I have 9-year-olds singing, watching something on the iPad in the background. So, all right. So, but I wanted to make the point here. I believe that right now, Charles Gasparino is being, he's trying his best to be politically correct on this thing and not go where it's possible that this thing leads yet. And I completely understand that, because he's built a career around doing what he does. I get it. That's where you start. But this thing doesn't get any prettier. That's why I keep saying, Gary, tear down this wall, because this thing, the truth, that's the crazy. We couldn't even be talking about this if the truth wasn't on our side. The truth is going to literally be like a fog that comes in and overwhelms all this stuff, unless they tear down this wall. And like I said, I don't want to be talking about this. I want to be talking about digital assets, and I want Ethereum to do well. I want Bitcoin to do. I want all these things to do well. But we're being forced into a situation where we have to fight to get a level playing field. We shouldn't have to fight to get a level playing field. Not in the United States of America. Maybe in some country that's I won't name any countries, but you know the countries. So anyway, moving along. But if this thing keeps going on and Charles Gasparino is forced to keep digging on this thing, it gets uglier and uglier, because there's no way it can't, because the truth in this thing is ugly, period. Okay, now, so what I'm trying to do is educate Charles Gasparino along the way about how this is not a level playing field, and there's not equal treatment being given to these things. And so what I did in this, in one of his posts from yesterday, is I went in and put one of the Vitalik Buterin clips. This is from the Texas Bitcoin Conference on March 13th, 2014. Listen to this. And I mean, and the reason I did this is the tweet was talking about how Ripple, SEC enforcement case over XRP has hurt its domestic business, and its business is thriving overseas. Further proof the SEC crypto enforcement agenda is forcing innovation to occur outside the U.S. Okay, so this is the dynamic, and this is why I put this particular video. So here you have an American company that's being forced offshores to do business by the SEC. Meanwhile, the one that they gave a free pass to said this in 2014. If I can hit the refresh button, you can see it. 1 second. Let me go back down and pull it right here.
We had been hoping to launch our pre-sale on February 1st. So this is the way to get into Ethereum financially, which would be that we would be selling Ether at a rate of 2,000 Ether for 1 Bitcoin, and Ether would become the internal currency of the Ethereum network. So you would be able to So Ether would be like the BTC in Bitcoin, or like the XRP in Ripple. It's sort of the glue that holds the system together. If he wants to run a contract, you would have to pay transaction fees denominated in Ether. And if you want to exchange between two different assets on the Ethereum network, chances are Ether would be the intermediate currency that you would be doing it through. So it's sort of like the reserve currency of the network. Now, we were hoping to launch the sale where you would be able to buy Ether for Bitcoin. We had to delay that for a combination of reasons, partially in order to better flesh out the business plan, partially in order to better flesh out the terms, partially for legal reasons. So we have been working hard at all those things all the way through February and the first week of March. So from an organizational standpoint, our current situation is that we have an entity registered in Switzerland. And the reason why we're looking at Switzerland as a jurisdiction is because, first of all, Switzerland is very well known for its very friendly banking laws. It's much easier to do anything related to innovative finance in Switzerland than it is in something like the United States or even Canada. Another country we were looking at was Panama, which has some similar properties, but we decided that Switzerland is likely to be more stable.
All right, so you have that there. And then John Deaton weighed in on this. He says, in 2014, Vitalik describes a pure ICO, aka a security. 4 years later, you report on Brooklyn Project, Consensus, and Lubin working on a free pass for Ethereum. Okay, those are all things that we've shown. Okay, that's real deal Holyfield. So I decided, I knew there was another clip about this, so you need to see this one too. And Gary, if you're listening, all we want is to tear down this innovation wall and let there be a level playing field. Watch this. And by the way, before I play this, I want you to understand the first part is Vitalik Buterin explaining how they've structured things so that they can get past U.S. scrutiny, U.S. regulatory scrutiny. Then the second part is Valerie Chapinick, who's at the SEC, the FinHub office, and she's explaining that their reach goes anywhere. Listen to this.
So you said that you guys are looking to incorporate and do this out of Switzerland, and you're purposely, you live in Canada, right?
Yes.
And so you're purposely not doing it in Canada, and you're purposely not doing it in the U.S.
A large part of that is regulatory reasons.
Okay.
So with Switzerland, they have a very long and established tradition of, first of all, very friendly banking laws. Also a tradition of stability. So it's not like some tiny tax haven that's going to turn against us the moment that the U.S. government wants them to.
Not like some tiny tax haven that's going to turn against us when the U.S. comes after them. Now think about that for a minute. And the SEC is going after Ripple, who's been trying to work with them from day one. You will not, I promise you, go look for it. You will not find a clip of anybody, Chris Larson or anybody else from Ripple, bragging about how they're doing this, creating some structure to get around U.S. regulators. You will not find it. Show it to me. I'd like to see it, because you won't find it.
And the second thing is that they also have a tradition of this direct democracy, very accessible government. So we have contact with open transactions, and through them, we've actually been talking directly with some government officials.
Is any of your team has to be physically in Switzerland,
right,
or are you going to have to be in Switzerland?
No, well, a large part of our team is currently in Switzerland. We are establishing a substantial base of operations there.
Okay, all right, but you'll still be based out of Canada.
Yeah, so part of us will be in Switzerland, part of us in Canada. We're already a globally distributed effort.
Sure.
But if the activity, regardless of where it's based, if the activity is touching U.S. investors or made an offer into the U.S. or it's somehow there is some nexus to the U.S., then we're going to likely assert jurisdiction, especially if it's affecting U.S. investors and markets. And so, that's kind of broadly how we look at things.
Okay, so I think that spells it out pretty clearly for you. I think that's very clear. Then you've got this. Now, here's the other dynamic that's going on, and if Charles Gasparino is listening, make no mistake, because I pointed this out the other day. There's, I would say, 80 to 85% of the crypto media, as well as the crypto industry, the industry organizations. For all these years I've been covering this, they've just about 85 to 90% of them have been in the tank for proof of work. Bitcoin and Ethereum. CoinDesk is one of those. CoinDesk is owned by the Digital Currency Group. Okay? And these guys, just look at Barry Silbert's tweets. It's Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin. With probably some Ethereum sprinkled in there. In fact, he said that XRP, now we know he owned XRP, because I could show you the tweets. He owned XRP in 2000, his company at least, owned XRP in 2016 because he tweeted about it. But then in about 2018 or 19, he said a tweet that XRP was not on their conviction list yet. And I asked him what that meant. Of course, he didn't reply. But anyway, the point is CoinDesk is owned by the Digital Currency Group. And they did this story. Why in the world is anybody on this planet, or especially in the United States, trying to look for an upside in Gensler cracking down on crypto? Okay? Why is anybody trying to look for an upside in that? Well, the answer's in the article. What this article is, and I'll show it to you, it's literally, if you read it, it's literally trying to divert away from the things that are being talked about with Ethereum and put people off in the direction of EOS. Well, EOS is not relevant to me in this thing, because the things that happened with Ethereum, this reeks of something that's going on behind the scenes, in a crypto war between the people behind Ethereum. It's like they were scared of they knew that XRP was the only thing that could slow down what they were doing. Because if you think about it, and this is really the conclusion I've come to, if you think about this, they know Joseph Lubin in the video I just played for you, they know that proof of work Ethereum's going nowhere. Their plan all along was to go to Ethereum 2.0. Somebody, I don't know who, somebody I think wanted to slow Ripple and XRP down long enough to get that Ethereum 2.0 out, at least. I don't think anybody, I don't believe anybody thought that, and that's just my opinion. I'm not saying any one person or one company's behind it. I'm just saying somebody. But that's what, when you add all this stuff together, that's what this feels like. Because I've seen 1,000 times all these people talk about how, oh, XRP is this or XRP is that. But I've never heard any of them say XRP is technologically a pile of crap. No. They use several other things. Oh, it's a scam, or oh, that's not decentralized. All those things. But they don't ever talk about the comparisons technologically between XRP and proof of work Ethereum or any of these others. And the reason they don't do that is because they know. And that's why I believe somebody somewhere felt like this was a threat. And if you remember, Tim Draper laid it out about the incumbents and how they do business, that they send out their media people to go after you, then they sue you, or then they get their government buddies after you. They laid it all out. So I'm going to finish this video. Sorry this video was so long, but I think it was worth it. I'm going to finish this video by saying, Mr. Gensler, tear down this innovation wall. Let us have a safe harbor. Let this be a level playing field. You know what's going you know what's going on is not right. You have children just like I have children. I want my children to grow up in a country where fair is fair, and where everybody's treated. There's a set of rules, and people don't want to break rules, but people want a set of rules and they'll abide by them. I mean, bad guys won't, but there's always going to be bad guys. But most people are inherently good, and if you give people a set of rules and make them very clear, not your version of very clear, but my version of very clear, where people really know. I think you want your kids to grow up in the same kind of country that I want my kids to grow up in. And that's not a nation of the powerful and the rich get to pick the winners and losers and do whatever they're doing behind the scenes. That is not the world that you or I want our children to grow up in. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe since you're in the club, you look at it differently, but you shouldn't. It's not right. And if what's right and wrong matters anymore, that's my plea, Mr. Gensler. Tear down this innovation wall, please. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family to ask Mr. Gensler to tear down this innovation